Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where it's all about helping you complete your financial journey to retirement. Discover time-tested strategies and get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Break away from the herd and go for the retirement you dream of. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
All right, here we go. Back on Personal Pension Radio. Always excited to be here. Love it, love it, love it. Hopefully you checked out the last episode with Pete Tentler as we revisited reverse mortgage. We're actually going to revisit that quite a bit. I've had lots and lots of questions about that, both from kids and parents and grandparents and certified financial planners. Yes, other certified financial planners asking me, a certified financial planner, about reverse mortgage. So go back and check out that last episode for sure. Also, don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. Just search Kraig with a K Strom, Kraig with a K Strom, the income engineer. I actually have been doing more vlogging and interview style stuff on YouTube. So if you're looking for another way to consume content about the financial things circulating in my brain and others, of course, check out YouTube. It is the second largest search engine on the planet. Lots of great information there, and I'm trying to add my little bit to that information. You heard it in the intro. I am the income engineer. I am a certified financial planner professional, and I love the conversation around retirement income planning. That is incredibly important to hear the nuance there. Retirement income planning is not the same as retirement investment planning. I am a 21-year financial services veteran. I've been around for a long time. The retirement journey is two distinct parts. You have got the accumulation phase of your life where you've got to save and invest and get the kids through college and such and pay off the mortgage and whatever you're doing. But you get to that point, the top of the proverbial retirement mountain, you've got to start the distribution half of your retirement journey. And the economics of retirement income distribution, completely different than retirement income accumulation. Very, very different. So please keep that in mind. Remember, as we're talking about this, retirement is not about a product. It's not about an investment this or it's life insurance that, or it's not about a real estate this or an annuity that. There must be a strategy integrated to bring it all together for maximum retirement income. I touched on it in the intro, referring back to reverse mortgage. I'll give you a quick example, and I felt it's important in here because I've said this 1,000 times, saying, hey, retirement income maxed out is not a product. It is not one thing. It's not real estate. It's not an investment. It's a strategy. So I actually have a friend of mine recently that said, hey, I kind of heard you're a financial planner. I've got a question. Well, as it turns out, she is really struggling with her retirement income question. She actually has a nice pension from a state job. It's a nice pension, but she found herself divorced several years back, and ultimately she is on her own when it comes to income. It's not her and a partner's income, it's just hers. So her pension is good, but she's realizing that it's getting tight. It's really getting tight for her. She said that financially, she's just wondering, gosh, how the heck is she going to just enjoy herself? She feels like she's kind of trapped in her house. Well, I mentioned reverse mortgage. I said, have you ever considered a reverse mortgage? Well, I don't know. I've heard some bad things about it. I said, well, where'd you hear a bad thing? Just tell me one person who told you a bad thing. Her CPA. Her CPA, her certified public accountant, said, oh, I don't know, reverse mortgage is bad. What? Unbelievable how professionals, I got to tell you, if you don't know reverse mortgage, those CPAs, financial planners, and lawyers who might be listening, please step back away from the podcast and send me an email, Kraig@kraigstrom.com, Kraig @kraigstrom.com. Get yourself some education on this because I gave this nice lady a quick bit of information about reverse mortgage. And I said, well, tell me about your house. She said, it's paid off. I said, well, congratulations. I said, well, so you live in your house and it's a single-story house? Yeah, it's a single-story house. Okay, so you could live there forever? Yeah. But she reminded me, once again, while I'm asking her these questions, she said, yeah, but I kind of feel trapped because I really don't have any money to go and do anything else. My pension and the income that I have doesn't really go that far. Oh, well, okay, well, wait, let me ask another question. I said, so if you live in your house for the next 30 years, where does the house go? Well, I guess my daughter's going to get it. Oh, so you have one daughter? Yeah, I have a daughter. Okay, great. So let me get this straight. Your daughter is okay with you living in the house, paying the tax, the insurance, the upkeep, the maintenance, the new roof, the water heater when it needs to be replaced, the upgraded repaired air conditioner, maybe the $10,000 air conditioner replacement, all of those things for 30 years. You're going to live financially strapped, and your daughter is totally okay with you living like that so that you can give her a $450,000 house someday. And she, well, I don't know. We've never really talked about it. I said, I'm guessing that unless your daughter is a tremendous jerk, right? And I'm kidding with a smile, but unless your daughter is a tremendous jerk, a totally selfish beast, she probably wants you to just be as happy as you can possibly be, right? Well, yeah, she said her daughter's married with kids and she and her husband have great jobs and they don't need anything. They don't need any help from her. She's just financially strapped. And I said, so if you talk to your daughter, it sounds like she wants you to just be as happy as you can possibly be. Yeah, I guess so, is what she said. So if that's the case, then a reverse mortgage on her home will change her life. Absolutely change her life, because she can have any number of things. She can have income from a reverse mortgage. She can have an equity line from a reverse mortgage. She can have an income every month. She could have a big giant lump sum of money if she wants it. There's all these options that she has with a reverse mortgage that she could access right away and change her financial life. Now, that's what I'm saying about maximum retirement income is not a product. It is looking at everything from a strategic, comprehensive, 360-degree perspective. See, this nice lady probably wouldn't have ever gotten to that point had she not talked to, in this case, a certified financial planner who asked her questions outside the sphere of retirement income, if you will. And there it was. Like, there's the answer. It's not a product per se. It happens to be a reverse mortgage, but the reverse mortgage was only something that comes up when you take into consideration the entirety of the conversation. I hope that makes sense. Now, quick disclosure before I jump in, as I jump in already, I am not an attorney. I am a paralegal at a phenomenal law firm. I am also a certified financial planner, but I'm not a certified public accountant. Please don't act on things that you hear on my show as if you're hearing advice for you specifically, personally. Please meet with a qualified, certified financial planner before you make financial decisions. And especially, please don't act on things that you hear from financial entertainers like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman and those kind of folks. These folks have no licensing, no regulation, truly no business practicing as financial planners or pretending to be financial planners on the radio. Please meet with a qualified, certified financial planner, and I am raising my hand. I would love to be that person. So many listeners from around the country have sent me an email, Kraig@kraigstrom.com, and said, hey, I'd like to chat with you. All right, so a deal of the week. One of the last episodes, I talked about a deal of the week fail with my Apple Watch and my clumsy college student daughter who slipped and fell. She didn't hurt herself, but she broke her fall with the Apple Watch that I had gotten her. Yes, I have not fixed the Apple Watch yet, but I am learning, and I will repair that sucker, and I'll be wearing that repaired Apple Watch eventually because I didn't buy insurance on it because it wasn't worth it. There you go. Now, this time, a deal of the week update. This is a long time ago, back in 2017. I had given a deal of the week update where my television, now I have a flat screen television. I think it's a small TV. It's only a 50-inch diagonal TV, so it's not some ginormous 90-inch, whatever crazy HD something plasma LED thing that's out there now. I bought a 50-inch TV on super duper clearance back in 2016, I think, 2015. I forget when I bought this TV. It's been a while. Well, back in 2017, the TV just popped off and wouldn't turn on anymore. It just glitched. It wouldn't power up. It was, okay. Well, the standard thing that we are taught to do in society today, in our disposable, planned obsolescence technology society, is just go buy a new TV. That's not me. There's got to be another answer. So I went to the source of all knowledge, YouTube and Google, and I found out that I could actually repair the TV. I could buy a part for the TV. So I did. I bought a power board back in 2017, took apart my TV. Turns out it's so easy. It's like 20 little tiny bolts around the back of the TV, pops off, unplug a few cables, plug a new board in, plug the cables back in, and whammo, my TV was working fine. Well, that TV, so 2017, that TV died early in 2020. It died again. It was the power board again. Sure enough, planned obsolescence, folks. These products are designed to fail. That is the case across the board nowadays, whether it's your Apple, your iPhone, your Android phone, your television, your printer, your computers, whatever. They are designed to fail. Yep, I went out and bought another $50 power board on eBay, and I replaced the power board, boom, put it back on the wall, working fine. So I saved another, probably $500 to $700 because the standard process is I better go buy another TV because this one's dead. Well, because there are no TV repair shops anymore for these kind of things. So for $50, now a total of $100 for my TV that I bought at half price back in 2015. So I put in another $50 into my TV. Now I'll cross my fingers. Hopefully this power board isn't dead in 6 months. If it dies in 6 months, I might actually start shopping for a clearance TV again, just because something else may be wrong. Now, this episode in Watch Your Step, I want to share something that I think that everybody just needs to seriously pay attention to this. This is a too good to be true, is maybe too good to be true, but at least it's worth spending some time with a certified financial planner to just talk about it, to review it, to get a second or third opinion. This is a discussion I wanted to share on tax saving schemes that seem too good to be true. Now, the word scheme in the United States has been given kind of a negative connotation. In reality, a scheme is just it's a strategy, it's a process, it's a financial system, it's a process. So in my lexicon here, the word scheme is not a negative thing. In this case, it is a tax-saving scheme that might seem too good to be true. It might not be, or maybe it is. You really should get that second or third opinion so that you can make an informed decision. Now, I'm not going to mention any particular tax codes or acronyms or names of specific tax scheme plans because they're changing all the time, and I am not a certified public accountant. Now, and there's plenty of information out there on a variety of different, sometimes outlandish, sometimes they sound like that makes total sense, that I could just save all this money in taxes. The bottom line is you have got to know the risk and be willing to listen and hear when someone brings you a contrary perspective. So I actually was introduced to someone, kind of hey, let's have breakfast. I'll invite my friend, we'll call him Bob. So, this friend of mine, his name's Mark. He invited his friend Bob. We're sitting down just having breakfast. And then we're talking through it. And something came up as we were chatting about, hey, Kraig, what do you do? And I said, well, we do this, that, and the other thing. And we do some tax planning in our law firm and blah, blah, blah. And the person, let's say Bob, said, oh, tax planning, really? He says, well, I do this. And he was so proud to explain what he was doing. It was a very specific tax scheme that I am well aware of. I knew about it. And he says, is that something that you and your firm does? And I said, well, okay, Bob, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you, no, we avoid that completely. Oh, really? Why? I've been doing it for 3 years now, and it saved me a tremendous amount of taxes. And I said, that's great. You might want to, and this is where I just can't help myself. I said, you might just want to get a second or third opinion, because what you are describing and what I know they're doing, I know of this particular tax strategy. I know who's doing it. I know the man behind it that is, this guy is out there. He's like the guru of this tax plan for wealthy people. And I said, I am completely familiar with it, and we avoid that at all costs. We would never do that. Oh, really? Oh, well, I've been doing great, and it's all been fine. And I said, you might want to be super, super careful, maybe get a second or third opinion. Now, as it turns out later, my friend Mark said that this guy, Bob, was actually a bit offended at how adamant I was that I was basically making it sound like that what he was doing was illegal. He felt like I was actually, it offended him that I was giving him such a direct opinion and telling him that he should be careful. And he told my friend Mark that he was a little offended, basically. Well, here, fast forward a little bit, right? The IRS and the U.S. District Court did not come after Bob. They didn't. They didn't come after Bob. Do you know who they came after? They came after, right, clients who work with a totally different CPA, right? They came after clients who were working with a totally different CPA that had the same tax scheme going, but now these other clients that Bob has never met, they come under audit and full-blown investigation by the U.S. District Courts for tax evasion. And now the CPA that handles these other people where the IRS is going after them, the CPA is in full investigation mode. Now, this is not Bob's CPA. Totally different CPA, totally different people, right? But here's what happens. As the IRS and the court system dig into that CPA firm and they uncover several more clients that have the same tax scheme going, guess what? They make a connection back to that guy who is the guru that pitches this tax saving strategy. And sure enough, another connection and another connection leads back to another CPA. Sure enough, that's the CPA for Bob. Bob's CPA has now received a contact from the IRS. Okay, but Bob is still not under investigation. Well, guess what? Many clients for Bob's CPA are now being looked at, and whammo, Bob is being looked at. So, it all came to Bob through a totally disconnected out there CPA and another client somewhere else. I think they were even in a different state. But sure enough, Bob and his firm, the firm that manages his tax savings scheme, again, scheme is just, it's an okay word. But this idea that Bob had a strategy in place where he could magically put money into this pot over here and bammo, he's not paying any taxes, or he's paying way less taxes. Guess what? That generally doesn't work. That doesn't work. It worked for a few years, but you know what the IRS calls that? I think they call it tax evasion, and they go after it hardcore. So the firm that managed Bob's investment and several other clients connected to the CPA, guess what happened to the firm that manages Bob's investments? Blip. They closed the doors. They were crushed by the legal costs, the tax audits. They were crushed. They closed the doors, went out of business. Immense legal bills. Every single client of that firm drawn into the investigation. Folks, I am not suggesting that every tax scheme, every tax saving scheme or strategy out there should be avoided at all costs. Of course not. You've heard me say it on this podcast before, and I say it in public. I say it to clients. The tax code is a written list of instructions for how to save money on taxes. Absolutely. If you know how to read it, if you have the right team, and you put it together properly, it is a written list of instructions, a rule book, a playbook for how to pay less taxes. However, when you take several different rules in the rule book and you say, well, if we put this together with that and add a little sprinkle of paprika, whammo, we're paying no tax. Yeah, no, that's probably not going to work. And in this case, it was, in fact, too good to be true. Everybody got blown up. Please, if you're in a situation where you've got one of those amazing tax strategies, it's amazing, you might want to have it double checked. Just get a second or third opinion. Make sure that you know that you have asked the right questions, that you've Googled it yourself. In this case, if Bob really wanted to do his homework, he would have found out, and I knew this, and I didn't give him a hard time, he would have found out that guru guy was already under full-blown investigation by the state of Florida. A totally different state. Bob was in California, but that same guy, if you just simply Googled it, and Bob apparently didn't want to do anything because you don't want to actually Google it because that would mean, oh man, I have to give up that tax deduction. Well, he probably should have done that and gotten ahead of it. But instead, Bob was hit by the train called the IRS and the tax courts. Yay for Bob. Please, if you've got a question about a strategy and if something that you're working on or something that you've researched, feel free. Send me an email. Kraig@kraigstrom.com. Remember, I don't say that they're all bad. I just say you've got to know what to look out for. Now, great question came in from a listener, and I want to share that with you in the listener question and observation section of my podcast today. If you haven't checked out the episode previously, episode 221, podcast episode 221, self-directed IRAs, check that out for sure. Self-directed IRAs, great stuff. And the 222 reverse mortgage with Pete Tentler. That's a great one if you want to get a deeper dive into the reverse mortgage question. Now, listener question came in, and I think this is from Jim. Jim said, Kraig, I found your show on iHeartRadio while searching for retirement planning options. I really appreciate your perspective on retirement income as opposed to saving for retirement. Oh, thank you very much. I am 48, and my wife and I are almost done helping our 2 kids through college. Wow. Okay, I only have one. Good on you, Jim. Thankfully, we have not needed to take out loans to help with college. with the kids graduating, we will be able to increase our retirement savings. My wife and I also want to buy new cars. We're thinking about buying an electric car. There we go, buying an electric car to save more money on my commute to work. What do you suggest? Thank you for all the great information, Jim. All right. Great question, Jim. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So let me jump in. First, I love the kind words. I really do appreciate it. Send me a question. If you want to get your question on the air here, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. Now, you must know perhaps that I'm a car guy. So let me address the first part of your questions and your comments first. Good on you for not taking out any debt for your kids and getting them through college. I told my daughter, Madeline, that I would not take out any loans and I would not co-sign for her on anything during college. And I did not. I would not co-sign on an apartment. I did, full disclosure, I did help her with a car through my car dealership. I have a car dealership license as a hobby. I'm a crazy car guy. We got a super cheap loan through a credit union because that, in my opinion, is the most economically efficient way to pay for a car. So I did help her get a loan through a credit union for a car. Now, this is a used car that actually has equity in it. I actually have equity in a used car because I bought it right, I bought it used, and I got a really good loan on the car. Now, additional item for Jim. Once the kids are off the payroll, be sure to go back to basics before you simply start investing. Basics meaning make sure that you got your protection right. You should do that now. Make sure your car insurance is right. Make sure that your homeowner's insurance is right. Oh my gosh, I talked to somebody recently. They had their car insurance and we were talking about it and he says, I think it's wrong. They had, you ready for this? They had 2 kids driving. They had 1530. They had the cheapest, worst, most horrible car insurance they could get. I mean, it was stunning. Absolutely stunning how bad their car insurance was. You must have, in my opinion, at least a $300,000 maximum liability limit on your car, if not $500,000. If you can get $500,000, get $500,000. That's $250,500 maximum liability insurance, especially if you've got kids driving. Oh my gosh, that's insane. So please make sure that you start first with the basics. Protection, homeowner's insurance, umbrella insurance, car insurance, get it right. Saving and cash. Make sure that you have really strong cash on hand before you jump into invest. You might have been putting money out for the kids and you may not have maximum savings in cash liquidity. Save. Cash on hand. That's critical. Make sure that you have that first. Then invest. Then get into your 401k and so forth. Now, regarding the car, please don't buy a new car unless you truly believe it will be your last car for the next 10 years minimum. If it's going to be your last car for the next 10 years, great, buy a new car. But if you know me, you know that I am not a new car kind of guy, okay? Quick sip of my beverage. Now, if you know in your heart that you will want another car in 2 or 5 years, buy a used one. Buy a used one after someone else eats the 30% depreciation. That's right, 20 to 30% or more in value gone year one. Boom. Now, staying true to my belief, buy a 2-year-old car, at least a 2-year-old car, and if you want a like new car, buy a CPO car, a certified pre-owned car, CPO, from a dealership. Finance that car on a 3 to 5 year loan from a credit union or an online bank, unless the dealership or your local bank has a similar offer. get a cheap rate on the car. 5-year loan is fine, especially if you can get a cheap rate. Go for that. Now, regarding an electric car, okay, I'm going to get a little geeky here, but I'm not going to go into the minutia of this. I do follow this and I have researched it, but I'll say that there's a ton of information out there to help you understand the math and the science behind it. But here's the basics that make electric car, the one basic thing that makes electric cars a tough one to compete with combustion engines is that gasoline is 100 times more energy dense than electric vehicle batteries. That means, literally, this is what it means. You need 100 pounds of batteries to equal the energy output of 1 pound of gasoline. 100 times, right? That's incredible. So this idea that electric vehicles are saving the planet, not really. You need a whole ton of electric battery power to equal the efficiencies and the energy from combustion gasoline. All that being said, fine. Okay. Now, what about pricing? Well, here's the thing. There's a variety of different numbers, but roughly 2% of the car buying population, 2%, are buying electric vehicles. So what does that mean for basic supply and demand economics? It means the prices of electric vehicles are much higher. Electric vehicles cost more because fewer people are buying them, so fewer electric vehicles are being produced, lower supply, higher prices. EVs cost much more in some cases. Now, Tesla is the elephant in the room in the electric vehicle conversation. So let me address that in my basic caveman terms, all right? Basic caveman, Tesla's the big one. That's the primary, the dominant electric vehicle in most people's minds. Oh, maybe I'll buy a Tesla. Okay, fine. Now, I am blessed to be an independent financial planner, which means that I can choose when I travel. I can choose when I go to the office. I can choose how much traffic I need to sit in. And I choose to travel back and forth 2 to 3 times a week, so I have some traffic. As gas prices have steadily increased here in California, and by the way, highest in the country, yay, California, we're number one, right? So we'll run $3.50 minimum, $3.50 a gallon for gas, for regular gas, pushing $4 a gallon or more for premium. So last year, I researched electric vehicles again as an option to save money on gas during my commute times. Now, as I mentioned, the price of gas in California is obscene. It's ridiculous. And I found a video from a YouTuber in San Diego who did a full breakdown of his Tesla ownership. Now, again, you can find 1,000 videos on the breakdown of Tesla ownership costs compared to regular gas engines, etc. You can find a lot of that. I'm just going to summarize. And this is what he did. He went through his Tesla ownership. He went through the cost of the gas versus electric bill. He went through the maintenance. He went through a variety of just, all these different pieces. And it was very detailed, and he had spreadsheets, and it was great. But the one thing that he waited for, because I'm listening to him go through the numbers going, oh yeah, the price of gas and per mile and miles per gallon, and this sounds like it kind of makes sense. And then you know what he finished with? Boom! He finished with how much it cost every month. $1,500 a month was his payment on his Tesla. $1,500 a month. Okay, game over. Game over. Right? All of this junk that he went through about how much I'm saving on gas and the cost of electricity and I get a subsidy and I got a discount, and so what? The cost, the sheer cost. Remember what I said, the economics of electric vehicles. There's way less people buying electric vehicles, which means inherently the price of an electric vehicle is higher. just built in. It's higher. It's simple supply and demand. And in his case, buying a Tesla, holy cow, $1,500 a month payment, right? Wow. All right, now, okay, wait. There are other vehicles out there, right? There are other vehicles out there. There are hybrids and various other things that you can buy. So all of that to be said, I am not buying a Tesla. Not a chance. I would buy a Tesla for my car dealership because there's a bunch of folks out there that would like to buy a Tesla that can't afford a Tesla, that they might buy a used Tesla that a car dealership has. And there's some car dealerships here locally near me in Southern California that their used car lot, all they do is sell Teslas now. They just buy Teslas used because they depreciate, by the way. Teslas depreciate more than pretty much any car that I see. Next to Maserati, Teslas depreciate faster than anything. It's incredible how much value is lost in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years on a Tesla. Unbelievable. Now, all that being said, if you want the Tesla, and you have, this is back to your question, Jim, thank you. If you want a Tesla and you have the disposable cash flow to afford it without sacrificing the bigger retirement savings and cash on hand picture, buy the Tesla and be happy. Don't buy the Tesla because you think you're saving the planet. Remember, electricity is generated by coal, nuclear, and hydropower, right? You've got to generate the power somewhere to plug in the car. The overall economic benefit of an electric car takes somewhere around 7 years or more just to break even on the carbon footprint of an electric car. It's about 7 to 8 years to break even on the carbon footprint of what it takes to actually develop and plug in and charge and build and sell a Tesla. It takes a long time to break even. So don't buy the Tesla because you think you're saving the planet. Don't buy the Tesla because you think you're saving money. You're not. Adding it all up, you might break even, but probably not. Buy the electric vehicle because you love the rush of acceleration, the speed, the quiet. You love I drove, by the way, the new Porsche Taycan, the Porsche Taycan all electric. Oh my heck, that thing was incredible, amazing. Buy the EV because you love that rush of acceleration. You love the technology, the self-driving mode. You love the look of the car and enjoy it. So the answer to the question is, if you got all those boxes checked, go buy the electric vehicle. Just don't buy it because you think you're saving the planet or you're saving a ton of money, because you're not. It's an interesting thing. It's something that I probably would only buy through my car dealership, because my wife and I, for example, are going to hop in the car next Thursday and we're going to drive from Southern California to Tucson, Arizona. We're going to rent a hybrid car, because there's no way that we could really comfortably do that trip in an electric vehicle. It would take us 3 days. We'd have to stop and charge and stop and charge, and it just wouldn't work. In a hybrid, we'll probably get 5 million miles to the gallon. It'll be a great trip. It'll cost little or nothing for gas, right? We might fill up just once or twice. It's going to be great. So if you're going to buy that Tesla, buy it because you love it. Buy it because you love the thrill. Now, that wraps it up for this episode. I get all excited about these. Thank you so much once again for listening. Please don't forget to leave me a review on iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio is the dominant podcast media source nowadays in the world. Please leave me a thumbs up, a like on iTunes as well, and share this. I really appreciate it. Send your questions, as always, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio podcast. If you missed anything during the show, that's okay. We took the notes for you. Check the show notes for links, offers, and a full transcript. And don't forget to head over to personalpensionradio.com and download your free retirement income report. While you're there, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening. Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.